Hey horror fans, thanks for joining me for this review of I See You. So hopefully you can see me alright, and by the end of this, hopefully you'll know why, that you'll hope that they don't see you. So with that, cast and crew information down below, and real quick, the IMDb plot. Strange occurrences plague a small town detective and his family as he investigates the disappearance of a young boy. Alright. So let's just kind of set this up for you. First, I'm going to keep this as spoiler free as possible. This is a big movie with a couple of twists in it, and I really don't want to give any of that away. So I'm going to try to keep this as spoiler free as possible, which means, I'm going to leave out a large portion here, but I'll give you whatever details I can. To start, it's not really a horror movie, blood and guts wise, and that kind of thing. This is a mystery, obviously, like I just said, a movie built on twists and turns. It's got a couple of them. It's definitely a movie that you're going to have to pay attention to and watch for the clues as they go by. I actually, typically I don't watch a movie two times, but I actually caught this one twice. I watched it first myself and enjoyed it so much. I had my wife watch it. She likes movies with a lot of twists and so forth. So I watched it again so it gave me a good perspective to see how they set things up in this movie, and but definitely worth a watch and even a second watch to see how kind of everything comes together. And but I think even after watching it the first time, then you can kind of immediately look back and see, okay, that's how this and that happened. There's probably a thing or two that you definitely miss, or most likely will miss, unless you just take a wild guess at it. But yeah, so definitely pay attention while you're watching this movie, because they go out of their way to set things up and misdirect you and keep you on your toes. So with that, here you have the movie. I guess let's start with how it opens. You get kind of thrown into a small town, and you see a boy on a bicycle, and he's kind of going by, and all of a sudden, he's going through a park. He's all by himself. All of a sudden, he kind of get lifted off the bike and into the air, crashes down, and then before you know it, police are called, and he's disappeared. So immediately, you're thinking, what the hell happened here? And this one was on Amazon, I believe, and I think that the only small clip that I saw of this movie, and going into it, was this kind of scene, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to check it out, because after I saw that, I said, damn, I need to know more here. So, the early part of the film, after that, you kind of get an introduction to the lead detective on this case. He's apparently, him and his partner quickly think that this might be tied to some kidnappings or murders of young boys that happened maybe a few years ago or sometime in the past. So they're on high alert here. You kind of go home with this detective, and you kind of see what's going on in his family life when he's not in the middle of this investigation. And I guess things are a little rough at home. His wife has just cheated on him. His teenage son is really angry at the mom for this. He's angry, obviously, at the mom for this as well. So there is a lot of tension there. And while you're following that tension, there's something else going on. Um, Things are happening in a weird fashion, and if you kind of uh, catch how they're shooting this and so forth. Again, I'm trying not to give too much away. Um, but this is part of the opening twist of the movie, or the opening setup, and partly what makes this movie so good, is how they guide you in certain directions. You hit a point, and then it turns. But everything is very self-explanatory in this movie. Meaning that it's explained. Things aren't happening, and then you're like, well, what the hell? And then you go back and think, well, that couldn't happen, or why'd that happen? No. By the end of this movie, everything's explained, and like I said, even if you watch it a second time, it's even better. But I don't know that you need to. But if you want to, watch it a second time, and you definitely see how everything unfolds, and how nicely they laid everything out. So really, you got, I don't know how many minutes or how long it goes into the movie, but the movie goes through this a sequence of events with this family, partially with the family at home, and then partially a little bit with the detective, and doing his thing there, trying to solve this case. It doesn't get too deep into that. It touches on that a little, but that's part of it. And but again, it's a little bit more about what's going on in his house. Then the movie's gonna flip on you, because you're gonna see a certain events happen in the house, and the movie's gonna present it in a certain way, then flip it on you and tell you basically what has really been happening. And here, is where I'm going to become very vague, because I really don't want to say too much. And maybe even I've already said maybe a little too much by telling you already that the movie's kind of going to flip here. But, I don't want to say, too much from what happens from this point on. But basically, you're going to see a lot of what happened, but from a different perspective, to kind of fill you in on some things that happened, and reasons why certain events that happened in the beginning of the movie happened. And it's a little freaky in a weird way, and definitely something that I didn't really look into this. I don't know if this is a true thing. But if it is, that's pretty scary, and hopefully this is not happening to you. And kind of why I say hopefully they at the beginning, that hopefully they don't see you, because that is crazy. And then that's kind of one twist in the movie, and then there's another twist, and there's a big reveal, and as forth what's going on here. Another reveal, I guess, and then at the final seconds of the movie, there is an even bigger bomb that goes off, and a bigger reveal here. So there's a couple of them in this movie, and like I said, I don't really want to go into the second half of the movie, or even what happens even after that opening. Maybe 20 minutes, maybe it's a little longer. I didn't pay attention to the timing. So yeah, there's a lot that happens in the backside of this movie, because it reveals something, and then it has you thinking something, and then it reveals something else, and you're like, oh shit, and then they nail you one more time in the end. But it just overall, it's just really well done, and I like how they put everything together, and how they revealed everything, and how they lead you into thinking. They really spend time in the beginning of the movie thinking it's one thing. Then you kind of let your guard down when you see that it's something else, and then they start leading you again in another direction, and then bam, no, it is something totally different, and once you see that, you can kind of say, oh, well, we've maybe seen a little bit of that in movies before. You're like, okay. But then they have, one more bombshell. I think if you really, really think about what's happening here, and maybe even if you're watching this before you've watched the movie, maybe you can think in advance and maybe as the movie starts going, you can really figure it out before. But if you've already seen the movie and you haven't seen this review, or read anything, you just kind of turn on this movie, it will. I think for most people, or a good majority, you won't get the full, all the plot review, all the twists and turns in this movie. If you do, applause to you. You're well versed. It, like I said, it makes sense, and definitely watching it a second time, I go, oh, there's a chance, you could have thought that. But again, I think they do a really good job of trying to make you think certain things and trying to get you in a certain direction. And again, if you're a horror fan or so forth, you try not to get sucked into being in that direction, and you kind of expect it. But like I said, there's a couple of twists and turns here. Helen Hunt's in the movie. She does an okay job, but at a certain point, her character isn't as important. You'll find that certain characters are more important than others. They play their role in the overall thing. She's obviously the big name in this movie, but overall the acting is good overall, and so forth. Good performances all around. Great presentation. Great way. I like the way they shot it. Again, the twists and turns are awesome. Really good story, and after you watch this, maybe you'll Google. I haven't had a chance to yet. I want to check it out because there's something that's revealed in this movie that I don't know if it's a real thing or not. Hopefully, it's not. But I definitely, in the world we live in, I could see it happening. But it's crazy. Anyway, I really think you guys will enjoy this one. Definitely check this out. Like I said, not super horror, but definitely if you like something with a lot of twists, something that'll make you think, something that's a little bit creepy, and definitely a huge mystery here. So with that, I'm going to give this one 4 pools of blood. Yeah, I made it up to 4 pools of blood. Like I said, I really enjoyed this one. I'm glad I checked this out. For all the reasons I just named. I don't think I spoiled anything. I hope I didn't spoil anything for you. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this. So if you watch this, I'd be interested in your comments of when you saw the twists and turns happen. Did you guess what was going to happen? So let me know, definitely in the comment section down below. Or you can always catch me. Social media is also down below. If you see me posting about the movie, let me know what you thought. Did you catch the twist and turns? Did you like it? Did you not? And so forth. If you're looking for more reviews, you can check out horrorgory-reviews.blogspot.com. That's also, the link is down below for that as well. We have written reviews there as well. And also subscribe to this channel. So again, that was I See You. And you will no longer see me because this review is out. And I will check you on the next review, horror fans.